Hello and welcome to Mind Shifters. Today on the show, I have a very special guest that I met not so long ago. Her name is Federica Calandra, and she is a spiritual coach. And wait for it, she's also a channeler. Welcome, Federica. You're going to explain to us exactly what a channeler is, etc. But I'm looking forward to diving into your story.
Of course. Thank you so much for having me. It's amazing. Thank you. Can't wait.
Okay. So when one talks of spiritual coach and channeling, is this like happened just all at once? Usually these things are an evolution. So tell me where it began.
It was an evolution, actually. So let's say that it's very recent for me. So I would say 1 year of understanding all this and getting to this. So now we're in 2023. It all, I would say, started with 2022 when I had my spiritual awakening. So until then, I was working like everybody in a corporate job. I had my safe, secure corporate job with really good salary. I work from home. It just wasn't what I wanted to do. Like I felt like I was giving all my talent and skills and my energy to somebody that, just sucking my own energy. Like it really crushed me. Like I couldn't do it anymore. However, so I always knew that wasn't what I wanted to do for years, right? For like all the time I was there, but I didn't know what I wanted to do. And then I had my spiritual awakening with COVID. So in 2021, I started to suffer from severe anxiety and panic attacks, like severe. So I had to do something. So when you get anxiety, normally it's kind of a wake-up call of your body to tell you, wait, hello, you're doing something wrong with your life, right? So what we normally do, we just find method to just put it away, ignore it, and live our day as if, we don't have it. But actually, that's a wake-up call from your body to tell you there is something wrong, something that it's not working in your life. It's just a way to look at yourself. And because many of us, we suffer from mild anxiety throughout our whole life, we just say, yeah, it's normal. By the way, it's not normal. We should never suffer from anxiety ever, not even for a job interview, for an exam. No, like, there is a reason why we have that. However, since it's like mild anxiety, we don't care, right? So we go ahead. But then what happens that if you ignore it, like everything, what happens is that it persists and it becomes stronger and stronger until it comes to a point when it gets to panic attacks. And panic attacks, when you get them, you cannot live anymore. Because basically everyone that got those knows that it's like maybe the worst experience and the worst feeling you could have. You feel like you're dying. And when you get to a point when you have them like 3 times a day during the night, you cannot sleep, like literally cannot sleep. You have to deal with that. Like when anxiety gets to that point, when you get panic attacks, it forces you to look at yourself, to look at what you're doing. And that's why we get that.
Before you go on, because you've mentioned awakening, and I think for a lot of people that hear the word awakening, that has not been introduced to the idea of an awakening.
Right.
Because we all experience something in our lives that is going to feel uncomfortable and difficult, right? Like I support a lot of people with chronic illness, and most of them are, before they find me, have been going down the road of medications and dampening that.
The point was that, as you said, so awakening is the moment when you realize something, that you become conscious about something, right? So in this case, that's something that you didn't realize before. In this case, spiritual awakening means becoming aware of the fact that you are a spirit living a human experience. It's not the other way around. So when you suffer from anxiety, panic attacks, right, you get to have weird experiences, like out of your body experiences, something like that. So you wonder, am I human? Like, am I really this human, this meat body, or is there something else? And that is what triggered me into really understanding that actually we're not this. Like, we are actually a spirit that is trapped, let's say, in a human body. And that is what anxiety actually is. It's like your spirit telling you, wait, like, what are you doing? Like, you are ignoring the truth. So how I got there, why did I spend so much time about anxiety and panic attacks? Because that was my way to get to my awakening. Without that, I would have never gotten there. And that's why now I'm grateful for that, because without that, I would have never looked at myself. I would have never questioned. I would have never stopped my life and say, wait, there is something wrong. And by learning why I got that, and I did a lot of research, and I went to psychologists, and they teach you the usual stuff, like how to, exercises to handle anxiety. I did two sessions with her. I tried like different ones, And nobody resonated with me. I was like, no, that's not it. I'm not curing anxiety with something. That's not it. I want to remove it from the root because I cannot live like this. And so because I couldn't find any answer by any psychologist or whatever, I had to search it on my own. And when I started searching, I saw why people are like, I found the root cause of that. And when you find that, it's because you understand there is something else. It's not just you suffering from something. Doing the research, going deep, I found out about other things. I started to have other experiences. I opened up myself to other things. And once that you open up, once you start questioning the answers coming to your life, I started to question about, are ghosts real? Is there an afterlife? Why? Because the fear of death, right, that you feel during a panic attacks brings you to face death, right? Because you really believe you're dying. So it brought me to question death, to really look into that, And then by looking, I started to see experiences from people that died, went back, and they were all saying the same thing. They were all saying, people that got near-death experiences, right? It's like there's so many, and they all say the same things. I started looking seriously into that. The majority said, I go up there, and then I realized that everything was a play, but it was a game. It was a simulation. They all say it's like waking up for a dream. It's like saying, whoa, like I was taking everything so seriously, but actually it's a dream. And they all say I got into a place where there's extreme peace and love, something I never felt. And also what they say is that actually they meet a lot of people from their life, and they even say I see figures that welcome me into that. So when I heard that part, I was like, yeah, okay, whatever. But the thing that everybody said is it's like waking up from a dream. Like this is the dream that our soul is dreaming.
Okay.
Let's put it in that way. So that was my trigger from everything. Like facing my death with panic attacks, searching for the truth about death brought me into that. And I was like, whoa. And that was my realization. We are not human. I mean, yeah, we are humans, but we are spirits that never dies. Yeah. And so once I got that, everything followed, like was so quickly. Like I started to research. I wanted to know everything about that. It went so fast, and really in a few months. First of all, I managed to handle panic attacks and anxiety completely. Like it wasn't a problem anymore.
So for people who struggle with anxiety and panic attacks, what is the path that you would suggest for them to go? Because a lot of them that might be listening to this interview might be saying like, no, I just want to get rid of the anxiety. I don't want to know about the deeper meaning necessarily. Is there a way for them to resolve the anxiety without going into what most people would say, the woo-woo stuff?
Right. So I would say there are two aspects about anxiety and panic attacks. One aspect is a very effective method that I really found that really brings you to a normal state. It's about super simple. So it's a method that you do that brings everything in balance. However, it doesn't solve completely the problem, but that is a real way to, in 2 seconds, get snap out of that. And you can manage it, and you can really heal it completely. However, you don't remove the root cause. The root cause, it's a deep healing, because any anxiety we have comes from a deep wound that everyone, I don't think I met anybody that doesn't have that wound. Maybe the anxiety is it's not expressed fully in their life, but they have it, like everybody has it. However, it comes from a wound that until it's completely healed, you will always have that. So yes, you can learn methods like this method that I've learned that got me out of panic attacks in 2 months. In 2 months, I wasn't suffering them anymore. But I still had some anxiety like before. It was like mild. It was just manageable, let's say. But then what I did find was the fact that anxiety is actually it's a root wound that we have since childhood, which is about the fact that we never felt safe when we were children. Like, doesn't matter what the parents do, unless they are super conscious parents, and we know that it's not the case for 99% of parents, unless they were super conscious, they created some kind of trauma when we were children that didn't make us feel safe. So that trauma wound, it's what creates actually our anxiety for our whole life, because we never feel like our father was in our life. The father, it's not his fault, obviously, I mean, we know, but the father wound, both in men and women, really is what lies at the very root of this. And when I found my father wound, and it was layers and layers, I mean, really, my father is an amazing person. It's not his fault, obviously, but there were some things that an unconscious person cannot give you, obviously. And that's what creates the majority of problems with the men also in your life if you're a woman, and also for the men with women if you're a man anyway. And anxiety. So it is a wound that anybody can heal. And that's actually what I teach, like how to heal every single wound, doesn't matter where it comes from, but everybody can heal.
When you're saying it's the father wound, are you saying that the anxiety and panic attacks are not related to a mother wound as well, or a potential mother wound?
I would say yes. I would say yes, like parents, but the father, because the father, in theory, should have the role. Like, I mean, mother and father, yeah, they're equal, but they have different roles, right? So the mother should make you feel loved and nurtured or whatever, but the father should provide protection for the family, protection in a very deep and grounding way, in a safe way. If the father himself is not grounded, it's not safe, he cannot give that to the children, to the child. And a father that is grounded and safe in his body, that can really provide, this sense of protection for the whole family, is a conscious father. So my father himself is an amazing person, as I said. However, I see, like, he did suffer from anxiety. He's himself. He's, a bit chaotic, and doesn't. So I got that from him. He was not able to give me that sense of safety that a child should have, and that's why you develop that yourself. And as I said, unless you're super conscious, you give that to your children. So it's not anybody's fault.
So and if you don't resolve it, you would pass it on to your kids. Is that correct?
Exactly.
Okay.
Because that's how you behave, how you react.
So this way, just for people who are asking the question, so Federica, how can I resolve this? How do I get at the root? Is this what you do in your sessions, or is it something that you teach them that they can learn on their own and go away and do it on their own? And how long does it take somebody to learn that kind of thing?
It takes nothing. For me, my approach is, you come to me, I teach you the method and you do it on your own. Like, there's no point in coming to me and we do the work. No, that's not it. So you come to me and I teach you a method that you can apply to every wound. So this is the father wound, but we have infinite wounds, right? Like everything.
Exactly. And then the mother wound, I know for my clients, is a huge one. So it's that love, it's the acceptance, right?
It's the same. Okay. It's really, we can summarize it as inner child healing. That's what it is. And that is exactly what I teach in the coaching course about well-being and healing. It's about healing every single part of your inner child that is suffering, that is manifesting in your life as something, a block, or whatever, something, the things that make you feel bad, or however you want to call them, like those things that, you don't know how, because they're in your subconscious, you don't know you have them, and they manifest as something in your life, and you don't know why does that happen, right? Why is that thing in my life? Because it comes from a wound and you manifested it.
I love that you're getting onto that topic, because I mean there's so many wounds, as you say, whether it be health, which is like the area that I support people in, wealth, which is like a massive area, and then relationships, which is also, and career, right? So yours, if I remember correctly, came a lot down to this awakening where you decided, okay, career, you needed to change. So how do you support people who are at a crossroads in their life, or they're experiencing a massive upheaval or difficulty in any area of their life? What is it that you go through?
So for me, it's important that they take awareness of what is really not working in their life, whatever that is. You start all from awareness. You need to be aware of what you don't want in your life and what you want. So if you're in a chaotic state, like you said, so you're like, oh my God, first you need to calm down, right? And take a look. Like, first of all, there is no hurry to doing anything. Like, that is just an illusion that there is fear of, oh my God, I have to do this by. No, absolutely. So you have to stop. Whatever you're doing, you have to stop. And you have to take a hard look at yourself. So what am I doing? Like, what is the situation I'm handling, first of all? Like, is it a relationship? Whatever. So you first need to have clarity in your mind, because people sometimes are just overwhelmed by everything and they just don't know what they want. They just give blame to everything. So no, you first need to calm down and then take a look at your life and understand what is not working and what is working. That is the very first thing. And then once you do that, you come to me.
So how does channeling fit into this whole story? And I have to ask you is how did you develop a gift of channeling? Because I've seen you at work and it's amazing. So
Thank you. So channeling, actually, I use it kind of like a shortcut, meaning that sometimes the person comes and they're like, there's so many things, but if you tell me everything, we spend 1 hour for you telling me the problem. So what I do a reading, which takes me like 2 minutes or whatever, and I get from your guides. And now I say, let's say we go to the guides, they just tell me very shortly what is the issue. So for channeling, I use it for a shortcut in the coaching calls. Let's say in this healing part, I use it as a shortcut for me to get access to the personal information that is stored in their both aura and energy field. So I get all those things that you would tell me maybe in 1 hour, right? So I get all those things intuitively, and talking to your guides, I get those things. So it's very easy. It's much better for me to have a reading in that way, so that then we can really work better. However, the channeling itself, it can also be in a different way, kind of like curiosity. I want to know who I am. I want to know my soul origin, what other past lives have done, whatever. That is a different kind of reading. That is like full reading, right? And that is basically, it's much fun. I mean, it's fun for both because you get information that you would never know otherwise. And that is really about but it's the same thing. You just check for different information. Regarding the channeling, how did it happen? So I told you that about my spiritual awakening, right? So it did happen also because like my spiritual awakening was both searching, but also because I did have an episode in 2022. Yes, it was all really happened very fast. Like from January 2022, I started to suffer from panic attacks. I healed it in 2 months. From February to March, weird things happened. I did research. I opened up my ideas, and then
when you
in
say
April,
weird things, what were those weird things, for instance?
I would say in 1 week. So I started to open up my ideas, right? And then there was one night in which I had out of body experience. I was completely awake. I was just sleeping, but then I kind of, I don't want to say woke up, but kind of. And I was completely awake, and I saw myself basically levitating out of my body. And I saw myself like the bed. I was with my ex-boyfriend at the time. I started levitating. I remember like my hands like levitating by themselves, and I was trying to no, what's happening, And then I found myself like getting out of bed. I looked down, and like the bed was behind me, like above me, and then I look up, and there was this white being that was looking in front of me. It was, now I understand, one of my spirit guides. And now I go to the spirit guides topic. It was just around me, looking straight in my eyes. I was awake. I was aware, I was just
Were
out
you
of my body.
afraid? What were you feeling in that
Yeah,
moment?
I was terrified. I didn't know what was happening. I was like, I can't believe that, right? Yeah, so, and then after that, I just went back in the body. It happened 2 nights in a row. When I told my ex-boyfriend at the time, he said, no, you were dreaming. I was like, no, I wasn't dreaming. Like, I know what a dream is, and I know when I'm awake. And so that was really the episode. Really, really was like, what? No, okay. After that, I called. I don't know what to do, so I started searching. I went from searching for a psychologist to, I didn't know what psychic readings were because I never knew anything about this stuff, but I knew there was something else. So I started research online, what to do, blah, blah. And then I was very lucky. Of course, it's all lucky if it was, it was arranged, let's say.
Synchronicity,
But
divine intervention, whichever.
exactly. A very dear friend of mine, she told me, I don't know what's happened to you, but I might know a person that can help you. It's a friend of mine, and she did psychic readings, and she did an amazing reading from them. And after the reading, everything started because she was such an authentic
So that
person.
kind of activated. Is that what
Yes.
you feel? Okay.
Yes. So the actual activation was actually that out of body experience. And also I started having a Kundalini awakening the same period. It means that my Kundalini activated. It means, so that is a huge topic. Let's not go into that. But anyway, I had this.
Yeah, I've heard that before. I have no idea what it means. So somebody's going to be Googling this just like I am.
Okay, so basically it's an energy that we have, every one of us has stored into their spine, let's say, and it's our divine creative energy, right? That when awakens, normally goes into a spiritual awakening. It's a practice that in India they do for years, to get like to get to this spiritual awakening, Kundalini awakening, whatever. When it happens, it's this boost of energy that goes from your spine up until your third eye and out. Basically, what happens is this pure energy that burns everything that it's not aligned to the divine light or whatever. What happens is that if you're not, why do Indians prepare ears for that? Because if you're not prepared, it's so painful, because basically you have so many blocks, so many unsolved issue in your energy, in your body, that it's so painful. And it was so painful for me. Like, I had no idea. Like, I started searching because I was feeling so bad. My spine was hurting so much, and then my chest, because I had so many blocks there, right? And there was this surge of energy that was trying to get up, and it was basically burning everything. I felt like such an internal burn. Like, I didn't understand. That's why I searched for help, like for reading, because I didn't know what was happening. And then, yeah, like everything happened in a week. So out of body experience when I had this thing, and then this kundalini that just, really was so painful, my God. And so the first thing she told me in the reading, apart from all the stuff that whatever, you have to start doing yoga. You have to start doing breath work, because you have to release all the things that this energy is highlighting to. And when I started doing yoga and breath work, in 1 week, the symptoms went away. So I managed to release all this stuff. And after that, I never stopped doing yoga. It's like so important because it really releases all the stuck energy in your body.
So that was so, but then the channeling gifts, I think you're getting there.
Sorry.
So after you met with the psychic reader, she helped you to understand what was going on. Okay. So that wasn't the activation itself. What happened in the days or weeks after that reading?
So the activation actually was with that night.
That night.
I just didn't know at the time. She told me. She said there was a clock inside you that just, it was always planned to start at that time. So that was your awakening. It was planned. So that's why it happened in that way. So suddenly, because that's like, it's either like, wake up, it's time for you to wake up and get into the world. And so she explained me about what an awakening is, and then she explained me, she saw my origins, who I was, why I came here. She confirmed, I come here because, like many of us, you have mission, you came here to help humanity or whatever, right? To do your thing and to help people in this way. And that's why you had all this experience, so that today you can help people with that, because you had it on yourself first. And then after that, she told me, you already, like, your psychic gifts are already activated. Like that night when you got that out of body experience, you got activated. That's it. That was it. And it means that she said, you can, start practicing channeling. She told me, you can already channel, you're already connected. You can, start already to download information, connect to your spirit guides and talk to them. Spirit guides, by the way, is a team of light. So we all know what our guardian angels are, right? So we have both angels and spirit guides on our side. They're different, they have different roles, but we all have them, like each one of us. And they basically are the ones that make sure that we are aligned with our destiny. Let's put it in that way. So whatever happens in our life, it will always bring us to our destiny. So doesn't matter that, we do choices, we have choices, of course, we have free will, whatever. But in the end, we always end up to do what we have to do. So if you start taking choices that are not really aligned, something will happen in your life that will bring you there anyway.
I love that, because that's a great segue for signs that you're not aligned. Do you want to give some examples for people, so maybe that they can connect the dots for what's happening in their lives, of signs that they're not aligned to their highest and greatest?
So the biggest sign is anxiety, right?
Anxiety. Okay.
So that's
what about health issues? How do you see health issues? And maybe we'll talk about health issues as well.
Perfect. That's so that is a very, very good point of science. Like, your body tells you how it's feeling. So if you have, for example, skin and hair are the last thing in your body that make you, that the body takes care of, right? So it means that if you have healthy skin and hair, it means that everything else is fine, because the body can take care of skin and hair. Otherwise, it wouldn't care. It's not vital for your body. So that's already a sign. So for example, if you have amazing skin and amazing hair, it means that you're good. That's, for example. If you have, if you look at yourself and you see a specific disease, like if you always suffer from throat disease or whatever, like that's your weak spot, right? The weak spot, it's actually an accumulation of energy, negative, I don't say negative energy, but like an accumulation of energy that it's not being released properly, that it's in that spot. Why, for example, do we say that, if I'm not mistaken, I'm not super on that, but in general, like when we suffer from anger, what is it, the liver? That's
The liver,
right.
yeah.
Because that is where the energy is stored. So if you always suppress anger, if you're always angry, right, that is
The
energy.
liver is going to be unhealthy. Yeah, okay.
It's
And
super,
here
super
we
easy.
say that throat chakra, if you're not expressing what you're
Yes,
and you're holding back, then you can
absolutely.
develop thyroid issues, for instance.
Yes.
which is all here.
Every time you want to say something, but you stop yourself, or you say it in a nice way, not saying your truth, you're blocking your throat chakra. Why so many women have this problem of like, right? Like,
Yeah.
I did, like, my whole life, I was like always, clearing my voice, my throat, because you're like, your voice has been suppressed for so long that you've been used to just not speak up, just to say what people want to hear, otherwise it would create conflict, right? So that's why we suppress our truth. So if you have, for example, a weak voice, a weak power in speaking, or if you feel always like, problems here, it's because you're not speaking up. You're suppressing your truth every time a situation comes up.
Okay. What about, as a quick question, because most of the people I support are skin conditions. What do you see as skin conditions in terms of the work you do?
I would
Or is
say
it different for everyone? Yeah, curious.
Yeah, I would say it's about really glowing. I never thought about that. I do think
Okay.
about it now.
But I'm curious because I think I remember you talking that you had eczema or you had rashes all of your life. What was how did you resolve that?
Right. That's a very good point. I forgot about that. So actually the skin, right? It's what everybody sees. So if you are having things that you're hiding, right, from yourself and from others, where do you think they come out on the skin? So I did have eczema. Oh, actually, I suffered from eczema my whole life, especially on the hands. But when I was young, also like under my eyes and my lips, whatever, it was very always coming out like this scratching. And then I had a huge burst of eczema on my hands when I was in the wrong relationship for me at the time. I mean, I was supposed to be in that relationship, so whatever. But like, it was so stressful on me. Like, it was where I didn't want to be. And I was young, but I was 20, so I didn't get it, honestly. And so there was so much stress and pain that I wasn't handling. I was just, ignoring that. I was just suppressing. I didn't want to look at that. And what came out in your skin, it's like telling you, like, look, like you're hiding emotions that you don't want to see. So on the skin comes out what you don't want to see because you're suppressing it. It's just, you have to show it, and then you have to deal with it.
So how did you resolve it in the end? This was before all of your gifts and your awakening. How did you resolve your skin issues back then?
So there were two things. So first of all, the skin is always, you always have to look at health, right? So there was a vitamin D deficiency at the time. And when I started to integrate vitamin D, I never had that problem anymore. However, it went away immediately after the breakup of the person. I mean, it cannot be a coincidence, honestly. Like, my whole hand was like full of crusts. I think it's right. Like crust. Like, I never got to that point. We broke up that summer. After that, it disappeared completely, like 2 weeks or whatever.
Unbelievable. Okay. So if from the channeler and the spiritual coach now, Federica, if you look back from then, what was the sign, the message? Obviously that relationship, because you're saying you had to be in that relationship. What did you learn from that relationship that you had to take with you as a lesson? And why was it not aligned in the end?
So the signs are the signs that everyone can recognize. You know when somebody doesn't love you the way you love them.
Mm-hmm.
It's so easy. You just know. It was a long distance relationship, by the way. But I did basically what the biggest thing that I learned from that relationship. It was a very nice relationship, and I learned many things, so many. But the thing about handling relationship was that I was giving, like, I was not respecting myself. I was accepting everything he would do. I'm not talking about cheating, of course, but like, I would excuse him for everything. If you adjust yourself to the other person's schedule, you're not respecting yourself. It's that easy. And so and then the other thing I learned was to recognize when a person who doesn't love you the way you love them, like when you're over giving. And that was, it wasn't really a pattern for me. It was specific to that relationship, but I did learn that, like, to really recognize when a man doesn't put you as, you know, the main priority, or like doesn't see you like, you know, the person, the person, but it's just there because it could be somewhere else. I mean, you know. So that was a very huge lesson, and it saved me from many other bad relationships after that. It was very important filter I put after that. So
Good. Okay, so let's go back to the channeling part, because that's like super
Mhm.
fascinating for me as well, just to find out. What was your first channeling experience, and how did you develop that?
So, so after we did that reading with that girl I told you about, she said, I can teach you. So I went to do a lesson with her. It was like 4 hours in which she teach me the method. And honestly, it's not that hard. I mean, it's something that anybody, I mean, not anybody, but like those that want to do channeling, you know, because we all have different skills or whatever. But if you are drawn by channeling, you want to learn it, it's not that hard. For me, it took 1 session for her with her. And she basically, it's all about quieting your mind completely. Of course, you need to, okay, the gifts needs to be activated. If it's not activated, there is no point in even trying, right? And you know if it's activated, you just know. So I did this session with her, and she teach me. And the first time was so hard. Like, I remember, I because I was still, I mean, at the beginning, you don't discern between your thoughts from others. And here's the thing: open up to those channels. You open up to parallel dimensions that say that are all around us, and so everybody sees you from the other dimensions. And so they're like, oh, look, there's somebody, you know, and they try to talk to you. And so you receive a lot of things from other people. You see images, and sometimes you see like a face that comes into you. You're like, whoa, you know. Like,
Okay.
really?
Wow. Yeah.
Or like you see a figure, you know, because you're with closed eyes, you know, focusing on your third eye, and you see like a figure coming there. And so she, in those 4 hours, so she teach me the method, and then she basically made me tell her what I saw, and she could tell me, okay, that is, you know, that is kind of like somebody you want to get out of that, you know. She also teach me how I need to be in a state, in a state to get to channeling, because it's all a vibrational thing. If you are in a anxiety, fear, where do you think you go? Who do you think you attract, right? So basically, you need to be in a peaceful and grateful state, let's say. Like, at first, it's very important to stay in the love state. So you stay in the love, so you are at the high vibration, and therefore you're protected by anything, and you can connect to your guides, because our guides live they,
Exist. Yeah.
right, they are in a state where basically everything is peace and love and beautiful, whatever. So we need to get to that state to talk to them. Otherwise, they can talk to us, but we cannot hear them. And so first of all, you need to get to that vibrational state, to get into the love, and then you really relax yourself until you feel like something, I don't know, happen. Honestly, I don't know. You just relax yourself until the third eye activates, and then you just ask a question, and then you shut up and you wait for
You wait for the answers. Oh, interesting. Okay.
and that is the hardest part.
Wow.
Because
So for the people who are listening, who are super curious as to how, because you speak of the word activate all the time, how do they get activated? How can they develop their spiritual gifts? Is there a path for everyone to get there?
I would say that it's always divine timing, meaning that it comes when you're supposed to receive it. Really, there is no point in receiving something in your life that you're not ready to handle. If, for example, if you have a chaotic life, you don't know what, like, if you have so many issues, what's the point of being able to channel, like to develop your psychic gifts? For me, the psychic gifts come after you take care of your life in this dimension. There is, unless you need it. For me, I need it for my work, obviously. So that's why it came before. But it's different for everyone. A lot of people come, as you know, to our community and to say, I want to open up my psychic gifts, you know. And sometimes they do. Sometimes it's all about that's not your priority right now. And the guides always know. So that's also something that I do ask the guides, like, you know, does it make sense or not? It changes for everyone. Sometimes you open up yourself very slowly, you start to feel energies, you know, because the most important thing is to feel energies, because you need to discern. You need to understand, you know, what kind of energy, what kind of vibration that is, so that you can speak to the right persons, entities. Otherwise, you know, it's not super nice. So first it's about feeling energy and this kind of stuff. And some people go with that very slowly. Some other people, you just get activated out of nowhere. For me, it was like that, but it's so specific to every path of every person for their own reason and for their own path. It's different from anyone. But if you have this urge, you want to have psychic gifts, whatever, you have to ask yourself why. Like, why do you want it? Because the intention is always what counts in the end. So do you want it because you want to have fun around, By the way, it has happened. We had people that they were saying, yeah, I do astral traveling for fun.
Oh, okay.
Like, okay, it can be fun, but you also need to take all the precautions. It's not like going on, outside in the streets. We're talking about real stuff here. Like, we're talking about infinite dimensions you could end in really with your mind. And it's not a joke, honestly. So it has to be something that you need to take responsibility, and it's important to ask why you want that. Me, I didn't even know what that was, and I didn't even want it, probably. But as I said, because it was part of my past, it was necessary. And so,
okay, because I'm sure there are a lot of people here as well that still feel this is a lot woo-woo. So I just want to preface, because you speak of dimensions, you speak of aliens, entities, all sorts of things that are like, what do you say to people who are there in what you guys call 3D, right? And I guess you're in 5D in a different dimension, or at least aware of so many other things.
right.
Do you feel, and maybe we need to ask your guides, that everybody that's in 3D is here to learn something to evolve to a 5D, or how do you guys see that?
For me, yes. Meaning that everyone that shows this lifetime in this period, it's all random. This is the biggest thing we're ever going to see. It's not like having a lifetime in the Middle Age when you're just, you have your life, you're a midwife, whatever stuff, you learn that lesson, that's it. This life, it's going to be the most important life that the majority of souls are going to live. And I'm not just talking about earthly souls. And with earthly souls, I mean those souls that live their first human incarnations as a human on Earth. I'm talking also about starseed souls, which are souls that have lived their first, always in relative terms, but kind of to say like your first humanoid experiences on other planets. And this is the most important life, because it's going to happen so much stuff. And we're going to learn, like, the thing that we learn in this lifetime, it's compares to like 1,000 normal times. So everybody wants to be here. Everybody that is here, it's because they want to accelerate the learning process. Souls, in the end, as we said, this is all a dream, right? So souls are here to learn and develop. So why do we all want to be here? Because this is going to be the biggest ride that you're going to have. Like, this is going to be the biggest life that you're going to have. And so I don't think that everyone will awaken in this lifetime. Let's think about our grandparents, right? That I don't think you're going to wake up at 70 or 60. I don't even think that many of our parents, which are in the 60s, are going to wake up.
Okay.
However, and I don't also think that everybody in their 30 are going to wake up. Many people would choose, because let's remember, this is a free will choice. Many people will not want to choose this. They will prefer to choose to stay where they are, and that's completely fine. It's their soul path. For me, I don't know, it's just my intuition. It's not something I channeled or whatever, but I have a feeling pretty much over the majority of people on Earth will wake up eventually. The majority, like at least 60%, something like that. So right now we are what, 10%? I don't know, whatever. But
yeah,
less. But for me, it's in the end, it's going to be the majority of people on the Earth waking up, like speaking about this stuff. Like now we speak about the news of politics. Like this is going to be what everybody will be speaking about.
Because you've seen a lot of awakenings, or at least witness these awakenings, or at least have an idea of what that looks like. What does it look like for most people to have an awakening?
It's so different from everyone. This is what I saw. Like,
okay,
really, everyone has their own experience. Some people I don't know to answer to this. Like, it's so specific to everyone, but this is what I understood. Everyone chooses their own way to wake up in their own way. So for me, because it depends how you are. So for me, because here's the thing, the way I am, if I see the truth in something, I cannot deny it. Like, for me, it's impossible to say, no, that's not it. I have to go deep. I have to see it. I have to know why. But if you're not like that, which is okay, everybody's different, you maybe need, I don't know, 10 episodes in which something happens, and at the end you're like, oh, okay, maybe I should look at this, It varies. There's people that, I'm talking about my own family, for example. I'm speaking about this stuff for over 1 year, and I didn't see any spiritual awakening happening yet. Meaning that it's not their moment.
Yeah. Okay.
Just remember that spiritual awakening is always planned.
Okay.
If you choose to experience it, it's planned in your own specific way, according to how you are.
Okay.
It's completely to the person.
Cool. So perhaps you'd like to share, because you, me, and Patrice are getting together. For those who don't know of Patrice, Patrice is our mutual friend, a medical intuitive, and he can also do amazing things, very different to what you do. Maybe you want to describe what he does, because probably you can describe it better than I do.
Yeah, so basically what I found that Patrice does, so we worked together since almost 1 year. We met last year.
Right. Okay.
He was actually one of the first persons I did an external reading on. And it was such a great validation for me. What Patrice does, basically, he can scan your energy field. And so, what we were saying about before, the wounds, the trauma, those things, they don't go away. Like, unless you release them, unless you heal them, they stay. And I'm not talking about just this life in which something happened to you. I'm talking about all the past lives that you had, and probably infinite, right? They stay there. So what he sees basically, so if you don't ask a specific questions, he will see in general how your energy field is. And if there are specific blocks in your energy field, he sees them, like literally. And he can remove them. He can work basically with your higher self. Let's call it in that way. So your main soul, right? That it's dreaming. Let's put it in that way. Work with that higher self, with your true soul, and release those blocks. You can ask any question. For example, like, is there any block to my self-love? Like, is there a place where I don't love myself? For sure, yes. Otherwise, you will be conscious, as I was saying before. And you will see, according to the question, what blocks are in your area. Is there a father wound? You will see that in your energy block. So that's why we work so well together, because like, he sees in your energy field everything that you need to release, remove, heal, whatever. What he sees is what he can release. There are some things that unfortunately we have to heal ourselves, and that's what I teach. That's why I'm saying we are so complementary, because he can release some stuff to make the work easier, and I can teach you how to heal the other things he can remove, which is a work that you need to do yourself. Like, unfortunately, well, that's the point, right? There are some things we have to learn ourselves, because they include lessons. So you cannot just go to Patrice to say, can you please heal my father wound? Probably cannot. Probably that's something you have to learn, because that includes so many important lessons and things you have to realize about yourself, that you cannot just go to somebody like him and release them. And so the work with him is so powerful, because you can really speed up your healing process. Like, you can say, okay, I'm healing my issues with the masculine, for example, for all the traumas and all the false beliefs that I'm here. He will see those. So maybe it takes months, generic me, it takes months for me to get down to every single issue that I have with the masculine. Why do I attract some certain relationships? Why do I attract some sort of males, for example? It comes down to all the false beliefs and traumas that I have. With him, I had experience with him, like, in one session, 1 hour 30, we released stuff that I swear it would take me 2 months to release. I'm not kidding. Like, I'm serious. Like, when I saw with my own eyes, and I'm talking about a mental pattern that I had that were kind of governing my life, kind of like things that would came into my mind, like to make me think things, and I recognized them. I just didn't know how to change them, how to transform that thought, because that was toxic thought, right? And he said, no, this is just, like a programming. He can see, like, programming of our minds that bring us into thinking certain patterns, like, all the time, right? He removed it. I swear, after the session, I didn't have that thoughts anymore. Like it was like gone. So once that he removes that, it's gone completely from your consciousness and from your soul or energy field, whatever. It's gone. So that is a work that it really speeds up. And for me, that is the future of work, of healing.
Yeah,
Because you don't have to
amazing.
do the work all by yourself. You can really speed it up with him.
Yeah. So and that's really what the offering is all about, is that because most people that come into my field are very left brain. They're much more into explaining the science. So they've sought out all of the medical doctors, specialists that have been trying to help them. They've gone down many different avenues, tried many different things. So I'm kind of the scientific bridge to analyze, okay, what have they done? And why might the scientific or the clinical side not have gotten them to a certain level or to resolution, and see where the gaps are there. Okay. So when they work with me, or at least I can have an overview, I can see, okay, well, maybe you need to work on this area physically. So I deal with the physical side, whereas you and Patrice deal with the more energetic and the spiritual side. And I think it's really, really amazing for people who have done so many things on the physical level to explore what is possible on the next level. We know that there's things very scientific like nervous system regulation, epigenetics, and that kind of thing that is influencing their physical body. And that's, you guys are just that little level above to how do we influence those epigenetics through energy healing, spiritual healing, etc.
That's amazing that you brought that, because it's very important to say one thing. You need to work on both aspects. You need to work on the 3D as well as in the 5D. And this is for everything. It's for relationships, for jobs, for your dream life, whatever. You cannot just say, please universe, bring me the perfect partner. Please bring me the
Still
perfect
have
job.
to do something, right?
To put the work. So, and it's the same for health. So for health, you have to take care of your body also, because that's actually an important lesson from the universe. Like if you don't take care of your body, that you have to learn that the body is important as much as your spirit and your mind. That's why we say mind, spirit, body coherence, something like that, right? That's the point. Like your body is a crucial part of everything, and you need to take care of that as well as you take care of your mental wealth. Well-being. Sorry. So yes, it absolutely has to be combined, because, for example, if you go to Patrice, he can really help with the energetic side, but you have to take care of yourself first. You have to understand why you got the problems, and that's why where my channeling come into place also, because apart from the fact that I have always taken care of this in my life, it has always been a very important aspect. And by the way, I was very lucky. Of course, it was not lucky, but it was defined. My sister, she's a nutritionist. She's amazing, by the way. So I've learned everything about food and health from her. So luckily, I didn't have to go through a lot of issues, because she was always there. Like I learned how to eat from when I was 20. Like when I was 20, I already knew how to take care of me and how to really my body, the eating, and so if you go to Patrice and he tells you like, okay, I have this issue, and then I channel, it's because maybe it's circulatory issues, right? It has happened actually. We got a reading with this person, and so Patrice did the healing, the energy healing, and then I saw this about circulation, like blood circulation, and I saw immediately like what's the recommendation to see a nutritionist, because you need to change your diet. So it's about combining all those things, so I can get to the root cause of something. Both from my own experience, but also from the channel information that I received. Patrice can heal the energy, and then you do the 3D work with a professionist in that area. But it's everything. You cannot just do one of these. You have to do it all. That's why it's called holistic, because you have to take care of everything together. Yeah. So you go to all different persons according to.
Nice. Okay. Well, thank you so much for sharing your story. I don't know, is there anything that you feel you would love for the listeners to know about, or?
So I want to work with those that take responsibility of their own life, that they say, okay, I need to heal this. I have I have a job I want to change, I'm in a relationship that doesn't make me happy, whatever. If you're still blaming your partner, your job, people that come to you that make you unhappy, if you're still blaming everything, don't even bother coming to me. I want those that say, okay, I understand that everything that happens to me, first of all, it's for me, to teach me something. And second of all, it's because I manifested it. It means that it is in my energy field. It means that I can heal that. Whatever that is, it can be healed. So I only want to work with those that are aware of the fact that they're responsible of what has happened, like what the way their life is, but they also know that they can transform into whatever they want it, right? Because once you heal that, then you transform it. So responsibility is the first thing. And second of all, I understood that truth, it's the most important thing. We need to know about the truth, meaning that how this reality works, spirituality. And so my other aspect of what I do is I teach spirituality in a way that everybody can understand it, because when you search into that, you get lost into a tunnel of crazy red, black, white rabbit, whatever stuff, information, right? So this is something that I'm going to start very soon, my own YouTube channel, in which my mission is going to be to explain spirituality in the easiest way, so that everybody can learn that. Because when I first awakened and I wanted to know everything, I wanted to know why we're here, is there God, like what, blah, 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 whatever. The work that I did, the research was so huge, so big. I searched from so many different sources to get myself to understand and grasp on it. And now that I did all this work, all this research, all this stuff, like I feel like I have my own way to explain it in a way that people can understand it, because I understood that sometimes the problem is that it's not clear and it feels like woo-woo because they explain it in a way that doesn't make sense. So in addition to the work of channeling, coaching, whatever, I also want to teach spirituality so that you have the tools to understand and to take your own decisions.
Okay, so how can people work with you? I know so I've mentioned that for the month of November we are offering a three-way package. It's you, me, and Patrice. One clinical session with me, and then a dual session with you and Patrice to deal with the energy blocks. And then how else, if people want to work with you individually, how can they get in touch with you?
Well, just you can just go to my website, super easy, book a session, and you see other coaching or channeling, whatever you want.
Yep, I will put it in the notes. And any last messages for the audience?
Maybe I just want to say one thing, one disclaimer. As I was saying, like for me, if you chose to do the work, kudos to you. You should be very proud that you chose to do the hard thing that a lot of people doesn't choose to do, because you can either numb yourself and ignore the signs that we're talking about, like all the things, or you can take your life and say, I want to change it. So if you really are committed to want to change it, that's amazing. Like really, I want to say congratulations for taking the choice, because it's so hard. It's so hard, and this is not a path for everyone. So if you chose that, just know that it is possible. There are the resources of people that did it before you, and that you have all the help. That's why I want to start a YouTube channel, because I want to have all those that don't have the money to buy a session, which, by the way, for me, it's like investing on yourself. It's the best investment you could ever do. Like, if you want to buy a coaching, that's like a huge gift you're doing to yourself. But regardless of that, free resources are still very important. And that's why I really feel like I want to do that, because it helped me so much. Without that, I wouldn't be here, honestly. So I know that many people will need it.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much, Federica. It was great chatting to you. Super interesting. And I look forward to working with you in the future.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. It was amazing as always. And yeah.
You're welcome. Thanks.
Thank you.